All right, now here's soccer, and it's a bit of a mystery to me as to how Summit, New Jersey had such an advanced soccer program, and Franklin School Elementary School had the most advanced, and I couldn't figure out what father or what it was that provided Franklin School with some extra soccer help. For example, the fathers somehow, and as I said, I couldn't trace it to anybody that I knew or that played soccer. We had once a week we had an Englishman come to our elementary school and show us what a real soccer player was like. For instance, he ran the whole length of the field down and back with the ball bounced on his head. He never put his hands, never hit the ground. He had such control of the ball on his head. And he also showed us a bicycle kick where your back's to the goal and you toss the ball up in the air and you throw yourself backwards and you cannonball the shot over your shoulder as you fall backwards. And of course it's a tremendous shot and it catches the goal guard totally by surprise. I mean, we saw soccer as it really was. And then the Franklin fathers took us to Harrison, New Jersey, which is a suburb of Newark, and we saw the Irish Americans play the German Americans. And I mean, that was interesting. I mean, people didn't even know there was such things going on. But this was a full-size soccer field surrounded by a high wooden fence. You couldn't see through the fence, and you couldn't climb over it. You had to pay money to get in it. And the Franklin fathers brought our team to see this game. And the German Americans were the long ball passers. They made long passes, daring attacks, huge cannon fire shots, and the Irish Americans used a control game, a short passing, controlling the ball, trying to keep it under their control all the time. It was a phenomenal game. We saw big time soccer, and we knew we had a great sport, and that made Franklin School a fired up soccer program. And I was the only first string fourth grader. Yep, I was. Franklin School was the champion. There were 6 elementary schools. 5 of them played soccer. We played each one twice. We had our huge rival was Brayton School. I hate Brayton. I still hate Brayton. When I visit Summit, I make sure I go by Brayton High School. Boo, Brayton Elementary, and I boom. But anyway, I was the only varsity fourth grader soccer player, and the reason I'm mentioning that to you is because when I got to be a senior, the coach Thomas, told my mother. He was in charge of the whole soccer program for Summit, and he said when he told Mother, he said, you know, I used to get calls from outraged outraged parents about that little guy from Franklin School who was kicking the stuffings out of my boy. and Coach Thomas told my mother, he said, you know what I would say to him? I would say to him, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. He's only 9 years old. He's playing first string. And besides, I've seen him play and he's very good. And so you never heard of all the complaints coming in because I snuffed them all out. Your son was terrific. And of course, I was the captain of the Summit soccer team when I got to be a senior. So I thought, and so I knew about soccer, and the other thing I'll tell you about soccer is I never flinched. I was always on the forward line, and I realized early on that if you were afraid, you couldn't play soccer. And if you got to the ball first or you got to the ball tied, you could smack the stuffings out of the opponent if you were playing the ball and you were on the ball first or tied for first. And so I set out never to flinch and attack. And I knew how the game should be played, and that's why I was good.